Hi basses, so we're going to first look at the majesty and glory of your name, of the pieces that we're looking at. And I wanted to tell you a couple of things about going forward. Number one, as Ashley and I sang through this kind of in preparation for this, you really need a lot of support. You really need support from the breath, from underneath. Otherwise, the song is very fatiguing, especially for the tenors and altos, but for all voices. And be careful of the breaths. We need to breathe deep so that you can sustain the phrases over the bar line and only breathe when we're indicated, and I'll point out where some of those spots are. But for now, we're going to ask Linda if she will play the soprano, or actually we'll sing also, getting into the measure that you come in. So they'll just start in the second measure, night skies, or whatever pitch that is. Night skies. So we'll get into it that way, and then we'll come and pick up to page 4. Here we go, and 3 and 4. Night skies, like sea yes, so I have had trouble with that. I hear the tenor note in my brain, so those of you can see that I made a mistake there, but that's all right. We'll pick up some 4 right on it this time. The sun, or what is it? The moon. Let's try it there, and 2 and 3. The moon, stars suspended in space. Now this very simple line, there's a couple of different things that would need to happen right on top of page 4. Number 1 is I want you to take a slight 8th note breath after moon. The moon, stars suspended in space. So stars suspended in space. I want you to accent suspended in space. And then that whole note on space is one of the most important things that happen for you to sing, because basically you're the only thing singing there. So if you don't hold that nice and full, resonant and beautiful, if you in any way sing that, it will just collapse in on itself. So a nice full suspended in space, and warm it up, let it ring all the way to the end of the bar. Trust me, that whole note is one of the most important bass parts that we've got there. So can we try that? The moon. Pick up to page 4, and 2 and 3. The moon, stars suspended in space. Oh, what is that you are mindful of me? Good, we'll hold that out. One more time on that. I really want to make sure that you feel that whole note and the import that you were the foundation of that particular musical line there. Just really feel that and carry what the ladies are floating on top of you, starting on the end of beat 3. Really set up a foundation for them to do that. The moon, and 2 and 3. The moon, stars suspended in space. First go back to measure 17. Getting into measure 17, notice that each of those long held notes in measure 16 and 17, particularly in measure 15 and 16, particularly in measure 16, we have a crescendo into measure 17. We want forward motion, and that's really intensity and volume getting into you have given man a crown. The other thing I want you to be sure of is all these ah vowels, you have given man a crown of glory and honor. Make sure we got a nice open ah vowel with the lowered jaw. Nice resonant space here. We want to avoid crown of glory. Crown of glory, and all of those spaces require nice open round spaces so that when we are together that will blend nicely. So let's try that. Paying special attention to the vowels, intensity of the phrase through the note. We're now at a mezzo forte. We have it from a softer volume, making sure that we drive that phrase forward. Here we go. You have given. And 3 and 4. You have given man a crown of glory and honor. One note about that ascending interval. Even though we're ascending for honor, the second syllable is the unaccented syllable. So even though you're going higher, I need that to be softer. Honor, honor, more or less. Just a musical thing that'll make a big difference. And we breathe after honor. One more time at 17, and 3 and 4. You have given man a crown of glory and honor, that have made him a little lower than the angels. Breathe. You have put him in charge of all creation. Breathe. The beasts of the field. Okay, good. I can hear you in my mind singing that beautifully with those tall resonant vowels. Sounds absolutely glorious. Let's look at bottom of page 5. Now, for now, we're only going to sing big notes. So if there's a little note, we're just going to leave that out. But you notice on the last beat of the page, on the fish of the, we do break into 4-part harmony, and I would like to hear that. So we've got bass 1, or basses, baritone, tenor 1 and tenor 2 going into the last measure of page 5 and the first measure of page 6. So do practice those notes. So let's first try the bass note on the fish of the sea. I'll do my best to get that low. As y'all know, that's not quite my range. But let's try the fish of the sea. And 2 and 3. The fish of the sea. Nice. And guys, this is another instance similar to before, where you're holding a whole note, and that's the most important thing that's going on. You've got to create and not let that go. Can't be shallow or not beautiful, because it really propels what's going to happen next. Lets the ladies float on top of you. Let's do the baritone part now. The fish of the sea. And 2 and 3. The fish of the sea. Good. One more time. Everybody's singing their own part. I'll sing the baritone part and really focus again on the importance of that whole note, having it beautiful, resonant, and all the way through the phrase, the measure. Here we go, and 2 and breathe. The fish of the sea. Rest. But what is that? Oh, what is man that you are mindful of me? Nice. And let's try that one more time. And just make sure you note any way you can that there is a slight breath after man, top of page 6. Man, that, oh, what is? Man, oh, what is? Just to give us some air to hold out the rest of that phrase. One more time, the fish of the sea. The, and 2 and 3. The fish of the sea. Roundlet, E, and breathe. What is man? Oh, what is man that you are mindful of him? O Lord our God, nice avowed majesty and glory of your creation. first half of this is the most intricate. We've got lots of notes and different harmonies. It's the setting of Psalm 8, talking about the birds and the mountains and the different things of that nature. When we get to here, we're a little bit more prayerful. It's a little more relaxed and easy feel. I would like 4-bar phrases, 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 5 or 6. So don't breathe, for example, after God. Let's see if we can hold that over. If you need to sneak a breath somewhere else, you can go ahead and do that. But I would like for the phrase to continue, not be broken up after that first thing. So, and God, majesty, glory. Oh, and the other thing is make sure those long-held notes at the ends of the phrases, make sure there's even a crescendo written in. We need to crescendo and intensify that as we go through. So let's try it. Measure 34. Oh, Lord, our God. Oh, let me hear you do. Oh, let me hear you do. Yes, that's terrible. Now let me hear you do the other one. Oh, that's it. Here we go. Ready and rest. Oh, Lord, our God, our majesty and glory, our Lord and Christian. How about transcends the earth and fills the heaven. Okay, pause there. Just want to make sure. Measure 43. That says subito mezzo piano. That subito means suddenly, and we really want to all of a sudden be much softer than what we just got done singing. You can fills the heavens. Oh, all of a sudden we're softer. We're talking about children praising. You want this more gentle one, a different feeling that happens here. So really want to make sure you circle that and feel that in your soul, that all of a sudden we're softer and childlike when we get to measure 43. Can we try transcends the earth, top of that page? And 2 and 3. Transcends the earth and fills the crescendo heaven. Now change. Lord our God. Yeah, sorry, I sang the wrong note. I was looking at the tenor note. Can we do and fills the heavens? And 3 and 4 and 1. And fills the heaven. Through this. So biggest thing here as we finish this piece, we're building up to the climax, but make sure alle, not lay, alleluia, and lu is the accented syllable, and alleluia, so we always want to be cognizant of that as we're singing. Alleluia. And just make sure all of those vowels, luya, all of those vowels are nice and open. Nothing closes too early. It's a pure alleluia. Let's try that. Pick up to 52. Alleluia. Notice we changed key here, so it's a little bit of a different feel. And 1 and 2. Alleluia. Push this ball. Shadow. Can you tell me how much time we've had? We're just going to sing
15
Ooh,
minutes.
Okay. So just a couple more minutes on this. We're trying to keep it to 15 minutes. But here's the spot where I was talking about, where as we finish this piece, make sure you've got the support And your power is in your resonance. It's not in how loud that you're singing. Hallelujah. We don't want anything that sings strong or like a hammer. We want nice, controlled, muscular, hallelujah, or whatever your notes are, nice and full. And this is going to be particularly important as we get to the loudest section of the piece. So let's try that. Always in control, nothing too loud. Getting into, let's just start with Glory of Your Name at the top of that page. Page 12. Glory, and 3 and 4. Glory of your name. Accent and hallelujah. Okay, that interval is a little tricky. Let's try that one more time. So we go from glory of your name. We hold, where's the B flat, Linda? Name, just a half step down. Name, let's do glory of your name again. And 3 and 4. Glory of your That's going to be outstanding if you work with me on these elements of these vowels and how we get to the climactic part. It's just every time we sing this, it's stunning, and I think every time we do this, we can get it even better. So good job on this. Happy practicing.